folks who are looking to join, right? Maybe currently in their home countries, are there particular experiences that experiences either experiences or academic accomplishments that A&O is looking for folks who want to join, right? So does it have to be, must you have worked in a law firm? What if you were in-house? Like, there's always that question of, oh, if you're in-house, don't even bother, like just kill that dream and move on, right? So for folks who are in their home countries thinking of A&O, or who are currently in the US here, what can they expect, right? Trying to join, like, what do you think the challenges would be? I know I've asked a very long and winding question, but however you're able to break that down would be helpful.
Yeah, I totally understand your question. And I would mention this, which is something I probably should have mentioned in answering the last question, but it definitely fits in well here. A&O is very big on diversity. DEI is, we're frontline on DEI. It's everything to us, and not just in saying it, but in actually doing it. And so A&O is big on diversity. They want a diverse population of people and diversity of experiences as well. So just bringing in whatever experience you have from your home country is great, but it makes sense to have experience. So, which is why, when I spoke in the session about the LLMs, I talked about the masters, I talked about just trying to have some experience back home, because it counts at the end of the day. It makes you even be more useful personally. And then also being able to show why A&O, why it matters to you that you are in that place, rather than, to show that you're not just looking for any big law firm, but that A&O means something to you. But overall,
that's very important. That's very interesting, because a lot of times when we're applying, we're just shooting emails, like we're applying to everywhere and any big law firm that will open the door. But you're saying A&O wants to know why they specifically fit into your story. So there has to be a fit.
Absolutely, there has to be. And then adding to that, they want to know that you're a culture fit. Because part of the interview, and I've had the chance to interview people for the summer associateship, which is like interviewing them for a job, because they get job offers after that couple of months. And a lot of the questions that we ask, a lot of the things we're looking out for is, are they culture fit? And it was the same thing for me. The second day of the interview was behavioral, and it was really, if this happens in the law firm, what would you do? No technical questions throughout the interview, nothing like define this or tell us this, because for them, you're coming in as a first year, they don't expect to know anything in terms of know the work, right? They expect, so, another good thing, I think I would add this one, is go to a good school, right? And the thing about A&O, which is a good thing, is that they're not a firm that focuses just on the Ivy Leagues. I've seen people from different schools at A&O, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know about this school before I came to the US. Like, how do we recruit from here again? But they do it. So I think another thing is A&O has some relationship with some schools, like a good relationship over time. And that's another thing that counts. When you have recruited constantly from a school and the people you recruit tend to perform well at the firm, then you have a large amount of alumni at the firm. You will keep having more people from those schools. So maybe, I don't know, attend those schools will be one, or just attend a good school in the US. And then once you do that, there's the assumption, that's the good thing about what they have here. There's an assumption that you attended this school, so you're good enough to come to A&O. You attended this school, so it doesn't matter that you might be on B's at the school, or have a couple of B minuses. It's that you're here, and so we trust that as long as you're not on a fail, you are worth being here. So there's that benefit of the doubt they've given you. What you now have to prove is, I'm a culture fit for this place. And it's they just look at what kind of person are you. And so, however you can make yourself a culture fit, and also bring all of your experiences to bear and be ready to learn, because they want someone that by the time they put on it, yes, we know that you don't really know much coming in, we don't expect much from you, but we want that willingness to learn. So I think those things stand you out, or stand anyone out for.
Thank you so much. Because I was going to ask a question about grades, right? And how important they are? Is it, and it looks like you're saying they are important, but being a culture fit with the organization is more important. Can you speak to that a bit more? Because a lot of people come and they will like focus all their attention on book, like, and getting A's and B's and A's and not making the connections. And so which is more important, the grades, the networking for A and O? What do you think is?
I think for the LLM particularly, I think for the JD is also the same thing. There's once you go to grade school, there is that assumption, which is why some schools have certain recruitment programs other schools don't have. And at those recruitment programs, there are certain firms that come there, and you would never see those firms at other schools, right? Because of these things, because they trust the reputation of the school, and that if this school could, so in fact, I guess it suffices to say that the beginning of your job journey starts with your school journey. So, the fact that the beginning of getting into the right firm starts with you getting into the right school. So the moment you get into that, there is a presumption on the part of certain firms that these people are good enough to work at our firms. And so the grades definitely do matter. By all means, try and get good grades, but more than, or at the same time, make sure that you're working on your networking. I think it is not so productive to focus on the grades and do nothing in terms of building your network, in terms of doing all these other things to make sure that you are a complete person, because they want a complete person. They don't just want somebody who had all A's. Okay, you're a straight A student, but what else are you bringing to the table? Are you the kind of person that I like to work across from? Do you have other interests? What have you done? What makes your life exciting? What makes your life interesting? Can we have conversations outside work? These are the things they want to know when they talk with you, right? So things for them that will count will be having small talk with them, during the interview, talking about something in their background if they're not, at home interviewing you, or just being able to share an experience, being able to relate something you've done. For instance, on behavioral questions, say you have worked at McDonald's and they're asking you a question about what you would do in a law firm scenario, and you're able to bring an experience from McDonald's and make it relevant to the experience that would happen at a law firm, say being, responding to an error that you made and your boss found it out. Oh yeah, this has happened to me before, while I worked at McDonald's, and this is what I did, and this is what I would do in this scenario. Those things are a big win for them. They come to know that this person can transfer knowledge across. And so it's the small things that matter, really, because really once you've gotten into a school like NYU or any other top school, there's the assumption that you're good. So you now have to show what's extra.
That's amazing. I'm really blown away, but there's another question that has come to mind, and I don't know why questions keep coming for me. And I feel like maybe you've answered this question, but it will be, and I think you have kind of answered, but I want to like elevate it some more or go a bit deeper into this. So for A and O and for this tier one big law firms in quote, does your experience in your home country, does it matter? Because sometimes you go for these things and they say things like, oh, well, come with 5 years experience or come with 3 years experience. And then you come and say, oh, I was a lawyer in this country. And they were like, no. So I guess I would like to know, does your experience count from your home country, or do they just see you as brand new, fresh from LLM year one? So if I had 5 years experience in Nigeria, 7 years, does it make any difference? Do I just always have to start from ground up?
Okay, from my limited knowledge and experience of how these things work, they count you the same as a JD, no matter the number of years. And those questions they ask about experience for a number of years, they are asking about experience in US markets and US law. They really don't care. I mean, this is something I advocate should change, that they start taking those things into consideration. I think at some level they will. Or they do, maybe when you have like maybe 7 or 10 years, that's significant for you to start as a first year. But I think that anything 5 and below, you will start as a first year, because they discount it to say you don't know the US law, you've not worked in the US before, you haven't worked in the US market. And sometimes it's actually productive for you, because it's better to overperform than to underperform. And when you're thrown into somewhere that you haven't worked in before, no matter how good you were back at your other firm, you will falter. There will be very simple things that you won't be able to do. So you don't want to have to coordinate other people, because they put you in the second or third year, you have to coordinate first years, they have to send stuff to you. And they know the process better than you. They're like, and you're like, oh, don't do this. And they're like, well, this is how it's done here, because they have been some associates before. And you're like, no. And then the person above you then says, it's actually how it's done. So you don't want to be that person who will feel frustrated in their, when they start there. So maybe, it might be helpful in the long run to be that first or second year that is just overperforming, and getting maybe big bonuses could be your reward. But yeah, they typically don't. They discount all of those experiences you've had in your former country.
Wow, that's very interesting. I think we're at the very tail end of this segment, and just before we wrap it up, I just want to say thank you again. This has been very helpful. I believe folks will find this very, very helpful. But my last question will really be about, do you have any advice to LLM students currently looking for work? I know it can be a very daunting process. Like on a regular, Caleb, folks reach out to me very often about being very discouraged, about just like, it feels like they've come and spent all this money in the US, but there's nothing to show for it, right? And so do you have any advice for them? Do you have any, I know you've said a lot, right? And I hope folks watch this and learn, but do you have any advice? Do you have any directions, instructions, guidance, whatever, any sort of encouragement for them on how they can go about looking for work and what that can look like for them?
Okay, so what I would say is everything I've said earlier, keep doing and do them a lot, because they are very useful. But I'd harp on even more network. Take advantage of and I mean this in every sense of the word. In school, with joining committees, with being part of organizations, with just getting into the system. Because what you want to do is that you want to be in the face of those who are already in that system. You want to be the face of those who have access to that system. Your career services, I don't know how helpful your career services at your school might be, but reach out to them often, talk with them. How do I do this? It was so good that my career services personnel, which is why, again, I say, NYU just has just been fantastic. I was just on my own one day, and she sent me an email, and she's like, Caleb, I think this would be somebody great for you to connect with. She sent me this person's LinkedIn. She used to be a student here. She's an alum, and this is where she worked. And I was very blown away. I'm like, somebody's thinking of me even when I'm not thinking, about it, right? So you want to engage with your career services office. That's why you're paying so much. That's why you're there. You want to make sure that you benefit so much from it. I'd say also pray. Honestly, just keep praying to God, very important. You cannot discount the spiritual aspect, because it could be one meeting. You don't need 200 yeses, you need one. You need one meeting, you need one person that you get in contact with. You need just one, okay, I'll talk to this person about you, and that opens the door. Then please be close to get in touch with your professors. Most of my RA jobs, I got them by just emailing these guys and talking to them. This is what I do. I have this experience. Talk about your experience. Talk about what you're looking. That's another thing I should mention. Talk about it. Talk about your experience and what you're looking for everywhere you go, literally every conversation, right? You get to go to a ball or a conference or whatever. You're meeting people. Hi, you're this, or you're currently at NYU doing this. Be proud of what you're doing and what you've done. That you formerly used to be in Nigeria, and while there you worked on this and this and this, and this is currently what you're looking for, because you'll soon be done with the program, and these are the kind of opportunities you're looking out for. That's what makes people know you can't get anything in this country if your mouth is closed. You got to talk. And it's something I realized early on coming here. People talk about the things they're looking for. Back in Nigeria, you're sort of shy when you're talking about looking for a job. It's like, I'm jobless, I'm unemployed. No, here it's like, I'm looking for something, and this is what I'm looking for. This is what I do. This is what I have experience in. So you do it in emails, you do it in personal conversations, you ask people for coffee meetings. It doesn't have to be a coffee meeting to talk about getting a job. A coffee meeting with a partner, associate, senior associate, whether virtual, whether in person, at a top law firm is a win. It's a foot in the door. It's something, and the insights they give you could be very helpful. These guys are involved in recruiting, so it could be very helpful. And they could also even mention you someday. Just think, I know this person from this school. If you guys are doing recruiting in this school, let me know. And then they let, that sort of thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Caleb, for your time. Thank you for coming and sharing like everything you had to share with the community. Hopefully I'm going to provide your LinkedIn I'm going to put a link. If you're comfortable with that, I can put a link to your LinkedIn profile in the description for this for this episode for anyone who is interested. But before we just go on, I just want to say thank you again. I know I've said thank you so many times, but thank you so much for joining and for sharing your experience. I wish you all the best at A&O. I only wish you like so much more greatness, and I pray that more people are able to join you there, and your story helps and encourages folks who are looking for jobs, who are looking to come to NYU. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great to do this.
Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Bye.